Thank you for tuning in to Andronetalks Radio, gathering as one in our sovereign truth from a galactic perspective, exploring our world with new ideas, knowledge, and a promise of a better future. Galactic discussions for galactic-minded people. Andronetalks.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Andronetalks News. So this week I have some interesting information as usual. It's a variety of different things, but I thought I'd start off with this article that discusses that MIT predicted the collapse of today's society in 1972, and we're right on track. And that's the title of the article. This is a science article. Here is a World 3 model was strikingly accurate based on modern data. The new study by director of one of the world's largest accounting firms, KPMG, reveals that a 1972 model by MIT researchers predicting the collapse of society in the 21st century looks to be worryingly on track, a report by Vice explains. A 1972 model called World 3 was created in the 70s using empirical data, and it was published in a book called Limits to Growth. Essentially, the model aimed to answer the question of what would happen if humanity keeps pursuing economic growth, no matter the societal and environmental cost. It concluded that without drastic change, industrial society was headed for a collapse. Given the unappealing prospect of collapse, I was curious to see which scenarios were aligning most closely with empirical data today, says Gaia Harrington, Director Advisory, Internal Audit and Enterprise Risk, who wrote the new paper. After all, the book that featured the world model was a bestseller in the 70s, and by now, we've had several decades of empirical data which would make a comparison meaningful. But to my surprise, I could not find recent attempts for this, so I decided to do it myself. The KPMG study, published in Yale Journal of Industrial Ecology, concludes that 1972 model was strikingly aligned with modern data. Without change, it says global civilization is headed toward a free-falling economic decline in the coming decade, which could lead to societal collapse by around 2040. I know there's a lot of talk about 2030, so I thought that was interesting. It was about 10 years later. Gaia, her name's Gaia, Harrington's study is not affiliated by or conducted for KPMG, though the accounting firm did post a study on its website. The new analysis examined data related to population, fertility rates, mortality rates, industrial output, food production, services, non-renewable resources, persistent pollution, human welfare, and ecological footprint. In her study, Harrington says continuing business as usual, that is, pursuing continuous growth, is not possible, even when paired with unprecedented technological development and adoption. Businesses are usual as modeled by limits to growth, would inevitably lead to declines in industrial capital, agricultural output, and welfare levels within this century. In 2014 science fiction novel The Peripheral, William Gibson, the godfather of the cyberpunk genre, predicted a future in which the society slowly and knowingly grounds its way towards a society of collapse brought on by climate change, pandemics, and other factors. The novel emphasizes the fact that Its premise was not brought on by one cataclysmic event, but rather by a combination of factors, slowly taking effect over decades. The KPMG director signaling the end of times, barring vast changes to the socio-economic status quo, might feel like fiction, but such predictions have been hiding in plain sight for decades. So true, we have been ignoring quite a bit, and we are seeing this dystopian reality ebbing up to our future unless certain things change, including the oppression of the people and forced, we'll say, things that happen to their body that they're not having free will to choose. Next article is from CNN. Thunderstorms cause flash flooding in London, submerging roads and some trains. This is on July 25th, 2021. Severe thunderstorms causing flash flooding across London on Sunday afternoon, sparking major transport delays. London Metropolitan Police said the flooding has caused severe disruption on the North Circular Road, one of the major roads surrounding central London. Several London Underground train stations were heavily flooded, disrupting services. I don't know if I've really followed the weather in England. I know that they're accustomed to getting a lot of rain, but I don't recall seeing anything like this before. And as you look at these pictures, I mean, this child is pretty deep in the water. So for our next article, this is from the Sunday Vision, and this is 28 unknown viruses have been identified in the ice of the 15,000-year-old Tibetan glacier. We know things are melting in different areas, and so this is on July 25th. This was posted, and underneath all of this very, very cold, the very cold regions of the world are melting. And so some of the ancient viruses are also surfacing, microbes and so forth. So I don't know if this has contributed to some of the things, or no one's really going to come clean on what's actually happening. But speaking of clean, here's Inceptive Mind. This is another article. The Heart ES19 electric aircraft designed for clean intercity travel. Swedish startup Heart Aerospace is developing the ES19, a 19-seat electric aircraft that has the potential to fly customers up to 250 miles before the end of this decade. The electric aircraft is designed for short trips that simply aren't economically feasible for conventional planes. The startup has been attracting a new round of investors, including United Airlines Ventures, UAV, Breakthrough Energy Ventures, BEV, Mesa Airlines, and to help get its turboprop plane off the ground. After a seed round of 2019, Heart Aerospace has now completed a series of financing round as the first large inflow of capital for the external investors. So there it is. And this was in Sweden. Or it's a Swedish startup. Oh. This is also from the Inceptive Mind. NEXT unveils a planet-friendly, safe electric personal air vehicle. So one man is able to control and ride in it, and his advanced air mobility startup has come up with the concept of a personal air vehicle that's equally performant as air taxis, perfectly safe and affordable. iFly is an all-new, all-electric vertical takeoff and landing personal aircraft created for safe, convenient, and planet-friendly transportation. It's interesting to see the new ingenuity and some of the vehicles that they're coming out with. You know, in the one moment we're having people project this dystopian reality, in the next page we see this advancement in technology and futuristic type of technologies that will be accessible to us, or maybe a handful, but showing that these things continue to progress forward despite all of the terrible things that are happening at the same time. It's really such a strange combination, and I guess it could be considered a distraction, but on the other hand, it's good to always know what's going on. I'm not sure if I covered this article or not, but I'm bringing it up again. I still think that there's something more to this. In Science News, this article was in July 27, 2021, and no, it can't be July 27th. Yeah, July 17th, 2021. London, UK, July 17th. By combining oil drops with water containing a detergent-like substance, scientists found that they could produce artificial swimming microbots that are able to swim independently and even harvest energy to recharge. The oil droplets use fluctuating temperature changes in their surrounding environment to store energy and swim. When cooled, the droplets release thin tail-like threads into the environment. The friction generated between the tails and surrounding fluid pushes the droplets, causing them to move. On heating, the droplets then retract their tail, returning to their original state, and harness the heat from their environment to recharge. Researchers showed that the droplets recharge multiple times and are able to swim for periods of up to 12 minutes at a time. In biology, research shows that to create even the simplest artificial cells, we need over 470 genes. However, through this international collaboration, we show that just by using a few simple and inexpensive components, we can create a new type of active matter that can change shape and move just like a living thing. We hope this study will open up opportunities for people to engage in cutting-edge science, as the only equipment needed is simple optical microscope. People would create these micro swimmers with the most basic laboratory setups, or even at home. With thousands of swimmers per drop of water, it's a world in a drop situation. And when it costs 7 pence per teaspoon, there's plenty for everyone. So it looks like they're using this, as the swimmers are not harmful to other living things, and scientists hope they could be able to use the study the basic interactions between living organisms such as bacteria and algae. Here's what they say about science and space. Forget the Bezos and Branson space flight. The real deal happens this fall. So, you know, after all of this, one after another launching into the sky, all of these mega million corporations, I guess there's more to come. So this has been a big month for billionaires in space. On July 11th, Richard Branson flew aboard his Virgin Galactic VSS Unity spacecraft 80 kilometers up to suborbital altitude, returned safely to Earth, and earned his astronaut wings in the process. Tuesday morning, Jeff Bezos followed, flying his Blue Origin New Shepard ship even higher, 100 kilometers, 62 miles up, and similarly joined the astronaut club. The media did what the media will always do in situations like this, present, company included, which was to find a catchy book or catchy hook, billionaire space race, to devote no end of coverage to the Branson Bezos doings, and with good reason. The technology is nifty, the achievements are real, and both Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic aim to open the flights to the public too, or at least a vanishing small portion of the public that can afford a 6-figure fare for little more than 10-minute flight to and from space. So, but the storm of the press has thus far largely overlooked a much bigger space deal coming in September, when yet another billionaire, Jared Isaacman, the CEO of Shift 4 Payments, an online payment company, goes aloft with 3 other civilian astronauts aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft in mission dubbed Inspiration 4. Never mind 10 suborbital minutes, this will be a 3-day trip to orbital space at an altitude higher than that of the International Space Station, ISS. And never mind the idea of flying the mission simply to open up the market to more tourists. Inspiration 4 is intended to raise funds in awareness for St. Jude Children's Hospital and Research Center in Memphis, Tennessee. Isaacman may not have the celebrity sizzle of Branson or Bezos, but both ambition of its mission is philanthropic purpose set it apart from Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin space hops. I believe that we do have an obligation to leave the world a better place than we found it, said Isaacman. Our mission to space has to serve a bigger purpose, which is why St. Jude is a part of this. It can't simply just be about opening the door to space for everybody, everyday people. It's got to be about taking care of some of the problems we've all faced with now. So, I guess there it is. And you can read up more about this. Also flying on this would be Chris Sembrowski, 41, a Lockheed Martin engineer in Everett, Washington, and a former member of the U.S. Air Force who served in Iraq and later helped oversee a fleet of Minuteman nuclear missiles. The 4th crew member, Cyan Proctor, professor of geosciences in South Mountain Community, and 2-time NASA astronaut candidate who was advanced to the final 47 out of the applicant class of 3,500 in 2009. Though she didn't make the final cut, the difference between the training she would have gotten in NASA and the training she's getting now was small. So you can read up more in this article. And, you know, it's interesting for us to keep talking about. I have no idea what this is right here, but I guess that, you know, calls it the New Shepard ship. It makes me think of the space competition to the moon between, you know, during the times of Kennedy and what was going on, going back and forth between the USSR and the United States. And now we're seeing corporations jump in, just like Peter had said. Corporations become more powerful and they're more prominent in the future, and it's less about nations. Here's a little update of video games. Ubisoft will reveal a new Tom Clancy's game tomorrow, and here's the first gameplay snippet. And there's a few videos here. The game's right here. We had a chance to see what it looks like, and so there's some information on it. They also mention in it's thought that there will be rumored a multiplayer shooter that combines the worlds of Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, and The Division. And gameplay snippets that were posted by IGN and GameSpot show that it is a first-person shooter with hero abilities. It's clear at this point that each character will have unique abilities. And then I looked up Splinter, and here's Ghost Recon and The Division. So in it's also a shooter game, and fictional Black Ops. There's military. The protagonist is Sam Fisher, and a subdivision within the NSA dubbed the third echelon. So you're seeing that like these military, still very prominent military, and then warfare, dystopian type of realities. Here's the ghost room. Interesting, there's the Delta company, and Delta's used a lot in the military, but we have a lot of, you know, the term used for the virus now is everyone's worried about, but I thought, you know, it's going to come up in all different ways, and just, you know, continue to neutralize whatever's going on there. Okay, so here is the series' player is in charge of a fictional, newly conceived squad of U.S. Army Special Forces called the Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 5th Special Forces Group, in Fort Bragg, and so this is not, these are not the new games, but this is the other new game will be a combination of these three. And here is the division based out of New York. Well, there's a lot going on in an aftermath of a viral pandemic. Interesting. So you combine all three. Rebuilds its operation in Manhattan. Investigate the nature of the outbreak and combat criminal activity in its wake. The division is structured with elements of role-playing. This all sounds familiar to me. Okay. Changing topics, now we're going to the Epoch Times. And here's, this is July 23rd, 2021. International spyware scandal runs deeper than Pegasus. So it looks like much attention is being paid recently in the bombshell allegations of Israeli-created spyware may have been used to target journalists, dissidents, and other enemies of the state, but the Pegasus scandal is a mere microcosm of a larger issue of governments using private companies for surveillance operations. Looks like they're blocking me here with, let's see if I can get, forcing me to put my email in there. But anyhow, if you want to do that, here's the article. And moving on to the next article. Okay, so there's still strange things going on in nature, and this is another article. Rumbling meteor lights up Norway. Part of it may have landed near Oslo. An unusually large meteor briefly lit up southern Norway on Sunday, creating a spectacular sound and light display as it rumbled across the sky, and a bit of it may have hit Earth, possibly not far from the capital of Oslo, experts say. There were no immediate reports of injuries or damage. Reports of sightings started arriving around 1 a.m. with the phenomenon being seen as far north as Trondheim. A web camera in Holmstrand, south of Oslo, captured a fireball falling from the sky and erupting into a bright flash, lighting up a marina. The Norwegian Meteor network was analyzing video footage and other data on Sunday to try to pinpoint the meteor's origin and destination. Preliminary data suggested a meteorite may have hit Earth in a large wooded area called Finnmarka, just 60 kilometers west of the capital, Oslo, the network said. This was crazy. The network's Morten Billet, who saw and heard the meteor, told Reuters. By Sunday afternoon, no debris had been found. And given the demanding location, one could take some 10 years searching for possible meteorites. I just got rid of all the evidence. The meteor traveled at 15 to 20 kilometers per second and lit up the night sky for about 5 to 6 seconds billet said, and the summer sky was dark and the days starting to get shorter from the end of June. Eyewitnesses also said they felt strong wind blow, with the event also causing a pressure wave. What we had last night was a large rock traveling likely from between Mars and Jupiter, which is our asteroid belt. And when that whizzes in, it creates a rumble, light, and great excitement amongst us experts, and maybe some fear among others. There were no reports of damage or people being particularly frightened. The meteor that exploded over central Russia near the city of Chelyabinsk in 2013 rained fireballs over a vast area and caused a shockwave that smashed windows, damaged buildings, and injured 1,200 people. They say it was a meteor. I don't know. For some reason, it feels like it might have been a craft. I don't know why. I just can't quite shake that one. Anyhow, we're going to go on to, this came out in today, the 26th, 2021. Did you see it? Nearly 150 reports of fireballs skirting across the Texas sky. So then there was another event here. American Meteor Society of fireballs skirting across the sky Sunday night, July 25th. The earliest reports started trickling in just before 9 p.m. and it covered a large area from Arkansas and Louisiana to Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. Scientific organization reported the fireball traveled in northeasterly direction, lasted about 4 seconds. Okay, here's another article from the BBC. The article is a deadly street protest over Iran water shortages. Security forces in Iran's southwest Kazakhstan province have been firing bullets at people protesting due to severe water shortages. The shortages are happening in one of the country's hottest regions where temperatures can reach 50 degrees Celsius. Iran has called claims of crackdown on protesters by the UN, writes Chief Michelle Bachelet, false accusation, but the protests have developed into dissent against the government, the country's supreme leader, and have spread to different cities. I don't know. I mean, they're surprised that people are protesting that there's no water. That doesn't even make any sense to me. And that's how heartless. That's how heartless things can get. Here's something interesting too. This is another article from BBC. Sandstorm swallows city in northwestern China. Sandstorm that lifted at least 100 meters, 330 feet, has left a city in northwestern China covered in dust. Also in China, this is an article by Newsmax on Monday, July 26th, which is today. China evacuates over 100,000 as a typhoon hits eastern China. And so here is Typhoon Infa made landfall in eastern China on Sunday, causing evacuation more than 100,000 people, the cancellation of flights in and out of Shanghai, and the halting of business operations, according to state media. We're going to jump over to an update on Bitcoin. I mean, technically, I like to cover many different topics, what's going on in the world regarding politics, weather events, any type of technology, and the areas of money. And Bitcoin has come up. I feel like I don't want to avoid it. I do get trolled a bit when I post these things, but I thought, you know, a lot of people have invested money in it, seeing it as an alternative option to investment. And so I think, for that reason, I think we should know what's going on in our digital age. So from Bitcoin rallying to Amazon hiring a digital currency expert, 6 things that happened in crypto this week. So this is Jack Dorsey, co-founder of and chief executive officer, Twitter, and Square Inc., speaks during the Bitcoin 2021 conference in Miami, Florida. After a sell-off last week, Bitcoin, the largest cryptocurrency by market value, began to rally over the weekend. Its price topped 40,000 for the first time since June on Monday and is currently trading at around 40,200 as of 3:35 p.m. EST. Other cryptocurrencies like Ether are also surging. The entire cryptocurrency market added more than 100 billion to value in 24 hours, according to the coin market cap. Experts say this boost came from recent bullish news regarding Bitcoin, including the B Word conference on Wednesday, where Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, Twitter and Square CEO Jack Dorsey, and ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood shared their support for Bitcoin. Ether and Dogecoin jumped during the conference as well, as Musk confirmed he owns all 3 digital coins. Musk also mentioned that both Tesla and SpaceX own Bitcoin. That's not all that happened in crypto over the past year. From a potential Tether probe to Amazon planning to hire a digital currency lead, here are 6 more key things to know about. 1, the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen tells regulators to act quickly on stablecoin rules. Janet Yellen met with President's Working Group in the financial markets to discuss the regulation of stablecoins, which are the cryptocurrencies that are supposed to be pegged to reserve assets like gold or fiat currency. Ethereum co-worker Vitalik Buterin speaks at the ETHCC Ethereum Community Conference, and the co-creator of the Ethereum blockchain discussed a variety of points, including encouraging Ethereum developers to work beyond DeFi or decentralized finance to recreate traditional financial systems such as banks exchanged with cryptocurrency, most run on the Ethereum blockchain. Number 3, Elon Musk says Tesla will likely start accepting Bitcoin again. Jack Dorsey hopes Bitcoin will help bring about world peace. Amazon is hiring digital currency and blockchain expert. Tether executives will reportedly face criminal probe. The U.S. Department of Justice is reported to examine whether the executives behind Tether, the largest stablecoin in use, committed bank fraud years ago, according to Bloomberg. And that's it for that topic. I thought this was kind of cool. I want to share it with people. This is a scary sound of the Helix Nebula. To get the sounds of planetary nebula, images are scanned and their vibrant colors converted to sounds. Red light is mapped to lower tones and blue light is mapped to higher tones. And this is a natural mapping as light frequencies increase from red to blue, just as sounds frequencies increase from severe tones to acute. It almost has a feeling like there's a bunch of people inside the nebula. And, color does have sound and frequency. And so I did find that this is interesting. I'm just going to play it one more time so you can maybe watch how it goes. And we'll start again. I know that they have scanned planets, and they actually, you can listen to what they sound like. But I thought I'd just share that with you, just as a little break in between some of these very hard-hitting articles. Well, hard-hitting for us because these are things that we want or don't want to see. This is Zero Hedge. Vatican reveals details on more than 5,000 properties it owns in first of its kind financial disclosure. The Vatican revealed that it owns more than 5,000 properties this last week after releasing information on its real estate holdings for the first time ever. The information was made public as a part of a consolidated financial statement in 2020 for the Holy See and first ever public budget for the administration of the patrimony of the Holy See, according to Reuters. It amounted to more than 50 pages of information about the Vatican's financial position. Of the more than 5,000 properties, 4,051 are in Italy and about 1,120 are abroad. Only 14% of the Vatican's properties in Italy are rented at market rates, with the rest being rented at discounts, mostly to church employees. 40% of the buildings were institutional buildings, such as schools, convents, and hospitals. The disclosure came days before the trial of 10 people connected to the purchase of one building in London's smart South Kensington district. That building led to enormous losses after being purchased as an investment in 2014 by the Vatican's Secretariat of the State. Father Juan Antonio Guerrera, head of the Vatican Secretariat of the Economy, commented that the trial would be a turning point in credibility for the Vatican and that a similar situation could not happen again due to new measures put into place. Pope Francis stripped the Secretary of State of control over its funds last year. The recall, just days ago, we wrote about 30,000 lira per week luxury flat owned by the Vatican was making news from receiving complaints from hellish noise. Complaints about loud events with some involving DJs were lodged with local council, we noted. The unit is 9,000 square feet and a house with a large garden and indoor swimming pool. The property was brought about on the luxury London properties in 2014, and the purchase was overseen by Cardinal Giovanni Angelo Becciu, was the first cardinal in modern times to be charged with financial crimes by the Vatican this year. And there's probably more in that article, but it will be there for you to listen to. We're going to now go into, I believe this is France. Yep. This is called the Defense Post. And France test fires anti-drone laser. The European country will use the weapon to secure major events such as the Olympics set to be held in Paris in 3 years. French military this week conducted advanced testing of laser-powered cannon capable of destroying a moving drone. We have talked about and we have seen some launches and attacks done by drones already in the past year. So this is an update that they're having other types of equipment to neutralize that. So here is the Power HELMA-P can neutralize in-flight targets up to 1 kilometer away in a matter of seconds. According to the Armed Forces Ministry, the cannon will help secure major events such as the Paris Olympic Games in 2024. And I guess it identifies, tracks, and neutralizes fixed or agile threats. Yeah, we get technology for everything. Electromagnetic cannons can fire projectiles within 110 nautical miles, 200 kilometers, or 5 times the speed of sound. They use powerful jolts of electrical current to propel non-explosive slugs at supersonic velocities. I won't even, I can't even imagine if they would use this on humans. But you know, we've been seeing laser technology being implemented for different reasons. I guess that there is a bit of a protest going on in France, and I'm just going to share this with you. Okay, so that's the end of that. There's a huge wildfire in southern France. The blaze is still not yet completely under control, with firefighters still on site. A fire colonel suspect that the blaze was caused by a driver throwing a cigarette butt out of the car window. But there's quite a bit of large area where the fire happened. It's on the AGA61 road between Toulouse and Narbonne, and was closed for a few hours, and 90 people were evacuated from the commune Fontcouvert, and they were able to return home in the evening. This vehicle is just driving. And some of these vehicles were helping, I guess, put out the fires. So on to the next article. We're going to go to Puerto Rico here. This is space.com. Scientists want to build a new, very different Arecibo Telescope to replace the fallen Icon. And we looked at that as well. We saw how it was coming apart. It looked like it was, like Peter said, that they did it on purpose. They didn't want people looking at the things that they were looking at. But they're just rebuilding another one. Maybe this is more advanced as well than the other one prior to it. Arecibo's observatory's massive radio dish was many things to many people. Pulsar finder, broadcaster, two aliens, asteroid mapper. Bond villain's hidden satellite dish, Puerto Rican icon, birthplace of future scientists. Until 7 months ago, that is, when gravity got the best of the engineering marvel that had endured throughout everything thrown its way for decades, and an entire platform crashed down. Since that fateful day, plenty of eyes have turned to analyzing what went wrong, while many hands have gotten to work sorting through and cleaning up the wreckage. And the brains have been doing what the brains do best, dreaming of the science might come, what might come next for the site. For one group of scientists with deep ties to Arecibo, that meant dreaming of an entirely new type of telescope, one that would fill the gap left by the iconic instrument. So this is the new next generation, the Arecibo Telescope. And there's more information on this. I guess a close-up of the damage from when the last one collapsed. And there's more on this article. This looks like this shows the platform suspended above with the two supporting towers and the complex cabling holding it up. So I guess we'll see what this does, and it's a rather large article. This is it illuminating at night. A dish of dishes. So it has a very, very large array, like in New Mexico, and 2-hour drive between Albuquerque. They talk about this new design concept considered by a massive dish in a fixed position like a lost telescope and a scattering of many individual dishes across the landscape. And that's the end of that article. Something to keep an eye on. Here's we started off with MIT, and we're coming up to Harvard. Harvard astronomer revolutionizes search for alien life with a new project. The new open data nonprofit scientific initiative by Harvard's Professor Avi Loeb will use a network of telescopes, cameras, and computers to analyze astronomical data to scan for evidence of alien life. The possible existence of aliens is one of the most intriguing subjects on the fringe of military and scientific communities. It has become more mainstream in recent years, but now a groundbreaking scientific initiative is creating a unified telescope network to see if mankind is truly not alone in the universe. Not that they ignoring all of the evidence of activity around the world already, but I guess they need another telescope to see what's already here. This is dubbed the Galileo Project and is a brainchild of the Israeli scientist Professor Avi Loeb of Harvard University's Astronomy Department, a leading scientific voice for the possible existence of alien life. While traditional SETI, or search for extraterrestrial intelligence, efforts have often focused on either finding less intelligent life or detecting radio waves, Loeb has taken a different approach: cameras and garbage. The idea to use a new network of telescopes and cameras to collect data into a computer system so we can analyze it, spot notable phenomena, and track it, he explained to the Jerusalem Post. So, I guess you can read this article. We're going to leave that here for you. I'm not going to read through everything that has stated, but you know, it is on the minds of those that are writing the news these days. They're bringing it up. I guess they're saying everything else that's happening here, maybe there is a possibility, or maybe they're lightening up on whether or not the government wants to disclose some of this information. Something to think about. Here's a movie from Showtime, and it's sort of like a documentary. I'm not really sure if it's, you know, talking about UFOs and other types of, let's see, what clandestine influence in the American government, lucrative private companies, and the military may have shielding the truth behind the extraterrestrial phenomena to further their own agendas. So this is, they're talking about it on Showtime. A movie. Here's the trailer. You can watch it. It's definitely done in documentary style, and showing some footage. We'll see what happens. They are trying to disclose these things. I know all of us that have been watching and knowing and experiencing the extraterrestrial life on the planet. This is nothing new for us, but it's interesting to see that they're kind of tagging along and bringing in content, probably from hours and days and years of research that many of you have done. And here it is. So with that said, I think that's the last of my stories for today in this show. I want to say thank you very much for listening and continuing to support the channel. And I'm trying to do my best to bring a wide array of topics. Peter will be joining us when he is able, and I will continue to provide information since we get so much information coming in and other things that I want to share with you, and we will. So thank you, everyone, and have a good day.
You have been listening to Andronetalks Radio. Join us on YouTube channel Jessica Arael Morocco and visit her website at www.readingsbyarael.com.